A few years ago, I was earning a living as a young shop owner. I had a small antique store, and every day I welcomed customers looking for unique items. However, one day I experienced one of the strangest and most terrifying events of my life. One evening, I was preparing to close the shop. After a rainy day, the sound of wet footsteps echoed in the street outside. The doorbell rang, and a mysterious customer walked in. They wore a black coat and had deep eyes. Their gaze seemed to penetrate my soul. The customer silently examined the display cases without asking about anything. After a while, they became interested in an antique music box. I approached them, and when I heard the music's melody, I felt a shiver. The customer suddenly turned to me and said with a cold smile, "This music box holds a special meaning." My heart began to race, but I tried to maintain my professionalism. The customer didn't ask about the price of the music box. They simply said, "I want to buy it." When I mentioned that they needed to pay, they pulled out a black envelope and placed it on the table. When I checked the money inside the envelope, I felt a strange unease. The bills were old and oddly colored. As the customer took the music box and left without a word of thanks, the atmosphere in the shop changed. A chill filled the room, and the items in the display cases began to appear as if they came from a different world. I couldn't decipher the meaning of the symbols on the colorful bills that had leaked from the envelope, but I felt that something was amiss. When I returned home that night, the cold stares and peculiar behavior of the customer were still on my mind. The music box also emitted an eerie vibration as it left the shop. I spent the night sleepless, haunted by nightmares of this mysterious customer and the peculiar music box. The next morning, when I opened the shop, the music box was still on the table, but the bills from the envelope were missing. As I rubbed my eyes, I looked at the items in the display cases, imagining that the objects were gazing back at me. Was all of this a coincidence, or was it a trace left behind by the mysterious customer? From that day on, the atmosphere in the shop never returned to normal. Whenever the music box played, a strange sense of unease washed over me. One night, an antique mirror in the shop's display showed the reflection of the mysterious customer instead of my own face. Nobody believed it, but I knew the truth. That week, I made the decision to close the shop and never open it again. I have no intention of selling it either. I don't want anyone else to experience what I went through. My daughter's birthday was approaching, and my family and I were eagerly making preparations. Invitations for the party had been sent out. The cake had been ordered, and our home had been adorned with cheerful decorations. However, a few days before the birthday, strange events began to unfold. One night, I had a peculiar dream. In my dream, I saw a child sitting on the swing in our backyard. The child's face was shrouded in shadows, but their gaze came toward me with a hair-raising gleam. I woke up drenched in sweat after the dream, and an eerie sense of unease filled me. Later, one day before my daughter's birthday, I had another dream. This time, the child who oddly appeared in our backyard in my dream had dark eyes and was looking at me intently. Whispering my name, they asked, "Should you be waiting for me?" and then vanished. When I woke up, I was once again soaked in sweat, but this time a shiver ran down my spine. On my daughter's birthday, our family and friends gathered for the party. There were smiling faces, cheerful voices, and excitement all around the house. However, I still couldn't shake off the unsettling effect of those dreams. As the party progressed, my heart sank when I saw the figure of a strange child outside. The child, with dark hair and a shadowy face, stood at the entrance to our garden. They stared at me motionlessly as if I somehow remembered them from somewhere. I hurriedly approached, but the child suddenly disappeared. There was no one in the garden, and everything fell silent. My wife and friends tried to understand what lay behind this strange occurrence, but it was difficult for them to comprehend the unease I felt inside. From that moment on, I never learned who the child was or why they appeared to me. The mystery behind this strange incident, hidden beneath the joy of the birthday party, turned my daughter's special day into a haunting memory forever. On New Year's Eve, we gathered at home with our loved ones for some fun. We counted down the hours with joy and excitement. However, this festive night took an unexpectedly terrifying turn. Fireworks illuminated the sky as we welcomed the new year, filling the heavens with a burst of colors, but suddenly all the electricity went out, plunging the house into darkness. Initially, we thought it was a technical issue and attempted to illuminate the place with flashlights. However, after a while, we realized that there was no source of light outside either. There was a brief moment of silence in the darkness. Then, amidst the quiet surroundings, we heard the distant laughter of a child. At first, no one could comprehend what was happening because a child's laughter was quite unusual on this cold New Year's Eve. Then, a sound like someone gently tapping on the window panes caught our attention. As we tried to decipher the meaning behind this unsettling situation, a few details drew our focus. The sound tapping on the windows resembled someone whistling from outside. Furthermore, when we peered outside, what did we see? In front of the door and beyond the fences, we spotted the silhouette of a child wearing a white dress with long hair. The child's face was veiled in shadows, but in a fleeting moment when the light drew closer, I noticed they were looking at me with bright blue eyes. I recall the moment when fear and silence engulfed us. Everyone was attempting to grasp who this mysterious child was and why they were acting so strangely. We hastily moved toward the door, but the child suddenly vanished. There was no one in the garden or the vicinity. It was as though they had vanished into thin air. After this incident, the electricity was restored, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Nevertheless, the mystery of that night still lingered within us. Who was that child? Why did they appear near our house and then vanish? We couldn't find answers to our questions. The terrifying memory concealed within the New Year's Eve festivities remained an unforgettable tale for all of us.